Hi all, I really enjoyed playing in the London Chess Classic 2014 Super Rapid Open. So I was playing in the same tournament as the likes of Nakamura, Kramnik and others like Caruana. An amazing experience. I got to play two Grandmasters, but unfortunately not the Super Grandmasters as they're now called. Let's track the Super Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura and have a look at his rampage through the rounds, 10 rounds of this tournament. So in round 1, Nakamura was playing Theodore Slade, only rated 1869. So was Theodore Slade going to be losing quickly? Let's have a look at the game. Nakamura kicked off with B3. The time limit, by the way, 25 minutes with 10-second increments each move. So E5, Bishop B2. Nakamura likes this system. Nimzo Larsen style attack. Knight C3. Sorry, pardon me. Knight C6, E3. So white is putting pressure on these dark squares. D6, black is trying to be solid on E5 and blocking in his own bishop at the same time. Knight F3, but he's fianchettoing it now. White strikes in the center with D4. Bishop G7. Now Nakamura doesn't want to close up the position here. This might give black a comfortable sort of King's Indian style position if he plays D5. You can imagine the knight swinging back, and maybe even black playing aggressively like this later. No, Nakamura actually takes on E5, not minding the potential queens coming off here. So knight takes, and the queens come off now. But white has some annoying pressure, demonstrated with bishop c4. So how does black defend the f7 pawn? If king e7, then maybe bishop a3 is going to be really quite annoying. Maybe this knight's going to jump out as well to d5. There's other concerns, and white could try and castle queenside. There's stuff like that going on. So we see this rather awkward looking knight h6. Now knight c3. White does have the privilege of being able to castle with check, potentially. So c6, castling with check, king c7. Knight e4. Now there's some ideas that maybe knight g5, knight d6, these are all quite annoying. We see bishop f5, knight g5, and here white gains a significant trump card in the position. And let's put on Kbitzer as well, just to check this. If black played, well, rook f8, I think we can just nab. Can't we just nab the h7 pawn? Maybe that's possible as well. Even stronger might be e4 first, and then bishop a3, and then we're looking at f7. That's pretty annoying. So black has to concede here. This is a critical point. He concedes actually the light square bishop, a concessionary move, f6, because now after knight e6, white is accumulating advantage of the bishop pair. Bishop takes, bishop takes. So white is a bit stronger on the light squares, and immediately threatening rook d7 check. Black parries that, and now an exchange of rooks, and Naka doesn't mind the other exchange of rooks. He's confident enough with the bishop pair here to try and grind this endgame out. Imagine the risk as well to his FIDE rating if he even drew with an 1869. It would be unbelievably damaging to his FIDE rating. So he's very, very confident here in this position that he can actually grind this out. So let's see, king d6, bishop c4, not minding the fork of the two pawns, but he has in mind king e2. Because now if knight takes, then the knight would be doomed here. After f3, the knight is trapped. So we see f5, bishop a3 check, king d7. And there's an idea here that these pawns are actually on the same colour as the light square bishop. So if any bishop is going to be munching pawns, it would be this one, you'd think. Immediately here, any bishop g8, I think black had just played knight f6 and repulsing that bishop back, defending that pawn. So we see f3, knight f6. And now bishop f7, actually, and look at these bishops. They're working well together, but can white win a pawn soon? We see black playing e4 now, and it looks as though knight d5 might be interesting with knight c3, and maybe even trying to get this pawn. White stops that c4, king c7. Now h3, e takes f3, g takes, knight d7. for the moment, black doesn't look too bad. Any bishop g8 again, there's knight f6. Surely here we just play knight f6 all the time. So bishop e6. Naka is patient here with the bishop pair. Bishop f6. And now I think this is a slight mistake, because the knight needed f6, as we saw in several instances, to defend h7. Now here bishop g8 is played, and there's no knight f8, of course. We just snap that off. So actually, black is in trouble. All his pawns on knight squares are about to be skewered. If h6, then bishop h7, skewering these pawns. And again, there's no knight f8 or anything, so this is actually winning a pawn. So this is a critical mistake when black played bishop f6 on move 27. A blunder. The evaluation has dramatically gone up now after bishop g8. White is winning for the first time, material up now. So the bishop pair is being demonstrated now. Pawn up. Let's see, how does Naka continue? So he makes inroads with the bishop pair here, keeping the king out of the dark squares like e7. So even if c5 is played, it doesn't matter now. The bishop's here, not here. Knight e6. Bishop f7, more munching potential. Knight f8. Now fixing down the pawns. c5, king d3. The king is coming in. Bishop g5, taking some space. And now, potentially also, the h pawn can start marching to undermine this pawn chain. Bishop g7, h4, king d6. And instead of h5, this looks better actually, e4. If h5, this is okay as well, but I think as played is actually even stronger, e4. So f takes, king takes, bringing the king into the game more. And now with f5, this is going to be a dangerous passed pawn, ready to be h5, h6 with tempo. So a6, f5, g takes. White has created that passed outside h pawn now. Knight h7, bishop f4 check, bishop d5. Now the pawn pushes. Black is running out of moves. h6. Okay, white is now also threatening bishop c7 potentially. Start attacking these guys. b5, getting out of the way, things like that. But bishop g8, knight f6. Bishop g5, pinning the knight. An immediate threat of h7 now to queen. Unpinning. Bishop takes f6. So temporarily, opposite colour bishops here after king takes g8. Naka has it all sorted. He plays c takes b5, and now he takes on d4 and steps back with his king with a totally won king and pawn ending. So black resigned here. Pawns are going to be mopped up. An interesting game. It shows great confidence if you think about it, not minding the exchange of queens here, just relying on the bishop pair to beat the low rated player. No, nothing dramatic, just technique being demonstrated in this game. So that was round one. So I hope you enjoyed this little first instalment of Nakamura's Rampage at the recent London Classic Rapid Open 2014. Comments or questions on YouTube. Thanks very much.